Welcome to the Raising Confident Girls podcast, your guide to raising strong, confident daughters. I'm Melissa Jones, the founder of Girls Positivity Club and a teacher for over 20 years. In a world where girls often feel overwhelmed, anxious, and confused, this podcast is your go-to space. As caregivers, we navigate challenges together. I founded Girls Positivity Club to provide a place where you belong and get the tools to face today's hurdles. Consider this your regular check-in with a trusted friend, offering insights and practical tips for meaningful conversations. I'm here to help you feel confident on this journey of raising a generation of empowered girls. Let's dive in and raise those confident girls together. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Raising Confident Girls. I am so happy you're here today. As usual, whether it's your first time or you've been here lots of times, thank you. And I am excited to get started with this topic because friendship is a big topic with girls. It's something as adults that we, look for is those strong female friendships. And, really what we are doing is we are equipping our daughters as they're growing up with all the tools that they would need to figure out who are the right friends for them. Like, how do they know which friends are the ones to keep and which ones are the ones to kind of, I don't want to say goodbye to, but start moving away from. And it's the famous saying, I can't remember who said it, but it's like, I think there are a lot of different versions. It's like, we have friends for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And it's okay if our daughters don't have every friend become lifetime friends. Or I think there's also a misconception that girls have to have a best friend because, that's what they want. They want a best friend. They want a bestie. They want somebody that they can, have beside them all the time and be that person they can count on. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I also think it's okay if those people change, or if you are a bestie with someone for a long time and then something changes. It doesn't mean there's a fight. It just means that you kind of figure out that you're going in different directions, and that can be tricky. But one thing that we want to focus on is helping our daughters know, is this friendship building me up? And what are things that I should look for in a good friendship? One of the past episodes that has been really popular is friendship stress. And what that tells me is there is stress in friendship for girls. Like they are trying to look for who are my people. And again, it's all about that human need of like, where do I fit? Where do I belong? Who sees me? Who accepts me for who I truly am? And who will stay by my side? At the same time, not staying in a friendship that isn't working for her long term, if it's not a good fit. And same thing with the other person, if she's not the right friend for someone else, which can also be hard. So before we get too deep in the episode, I wanted to remind you that the best compliment you can give is to send this to another parent of a girl that it could help, another caregiver of a girl it could help, because it takes a village, and we're all trying to raise those confident girls so that they can grow up to be confident young women and change the world. That's really what it's about. And, it's really our job to equip them with everything they need. And if your daughter needs a little bit of extra support in doing that and wants to work with me one-on-one, I am accepting a few spots for my one-to-one services, which means I meet with girls every week for an hour for 12 weeks. And everything is really customized to her. So I help give her that extra sounding board, help give her tools and tips that she could use in her life, and become that extra voice and that extra person in her life to partner with you to help her feel confident, to talk about things that she's going through, to give her a new perspective, and for me to also support her in being who she wants to be and navigating hard things. So I am opening up a few spots in this new year to work with some girls. So if you are interested in your daughter working with me one-on-one, I would love to talk with you. You can just send me an email and just, say I'd like I'd be interested in my daughter working with you, or I would like to talk about what that, what the details look like and things like that. Um, and yeah, so we've had really good success with the girls that I've worked with one to one. It's really been impactful in their lives. The parents tell me that, and I really see them grow over time. So if your daughter is needing more support socially, in navigating, I've worked with a lot of girls that have social anxiety. I've worked with girls who just want to talk about friendship and want to have tools and strategies in place, to help strengthen their friendships and a variety of other things. So, really, it's very, very individualized and customized to what your daughter would need. And I work very closely with the parents, mostly moms, who have reached out to me. And we have open communication about that. You have access to talking with me directly, and we're a team. And so, if you're interested in that, send me a message. I'd love to work with your daughter and have a conversation about that. So, getting back into the episode with friendships. So, we want our daughters to have, I call it, I used to do this in the classroom, I call it have your antenna up. So, I would refer to this as when you're reading a book, if you're looking for a certain thing, you have your antenna up for that. It's like that in friendship. You want them to have their antenna up for friends that are building her up and friends that are making her feel good when they're around each other. Now, again, that doesn't mean that it's a perfect friendship, that everything always goes smoothly. There's never any conflict or anything like that, because that's not necessarily real life. Now, are there friendships where there's not that much conflict because it's just easy for the girls and they are just so much alike that that there's hardly anything that they disagree about? Yes, of course that happens. But I think we should normalize too that if something does come up, it's okay to talk about it with your friends without fear of them leaving you. That is one really common theme that comes up with a lot of girls is, well, I don't want to say that because I don't want to hurt her feelings. And also, what if she leaves me? Like, that's really a thing that they'll say. And my response is always, if she's a true friend, she will not leave you. She will appreciate that you're letting her know. And then I turn it around to them and say, if a friend needed to tell you something that felt hard, would you want them to feel comfortable saying it to you? As long as it's obviously not an aggressive way, it's not yelling and fighting and things like that. Would you want them to come to you? And they always say yes, because they would. So it's really teaching them how to do this and what to say and all of that. So, we all want our daughters to be surrounded by friends who uplift them, who support them. But sometimes it's hard to know if a friendship is truly positive or if it's draining their energy. I did an episode a while back about, are you a fountain or a drain? And are your friends a fountain or a drain? So it's this idea of being around the ones that give energy and that are positive and you feel good most of the time you're with them, not draining. So we also talk about this in Girls Positivity Club, like they shouldn't be energy vampires, which is like they drain your energy when you're around them. Whether it's jealousy, exclusion, constant pressure to do what everybody else does, that peer pressure we talked about last week, negative things like feelings, if these are coming up a lot and they're draining your daughter and she's feeling sad or anxious or fearful, not necessarily in a dangerous way, but like fearful she's going to be kicked out of the group, or one day they're friends and the next day they're not, if it's very tumultuous as a friendship, that is something to pay attention to and to bring to your daughter's attention. And just asking her too, are you open to talking about this, is always something I'll come back to. So we're going to explore how to help your daughter identify those healthy, good friendships and how to understand what to do when they aren't serving her, when they're not working out, when they are draining her and she knows it and she doesn't know what to do about it. And really the reason that a lot of us as girls and as women might stay in a friendship is because we're afraid of being alone, or we don't want people to be mad at us, or we've been friends with them for so long we don't know how to get out, and it can be like that for your daughters too. So friends are a huge thing in your daughter's life. I would love to tell you that we are the biggest influence on our daughters, on our kids. And yes, we are a huge influence on them, which is great. However, as they get older, especially, their friends are going to be the front and center of their lives. And it's going to feel like at some times like they value their friends over us. And it's really hurtful, but it's part of growing up and their independence. And so it's not about trying to control all of their friends or trying to help them fix everything in friendship or following them around and trying to, keep a bubble around them. I mean, yes, we would all love to do that so that nothing ever bad happens, but it's not realistic. And we have to give them the tools so that when we're not around, it's like they're a baby bird and they can fly away. And that makes me sad to think about because I know, like, as having a junior going into a senior year, it's like, you don't want to ever have them leave the nest, so to speak, but we want to. We want to equip them with the things that are going to give them those wings, help them fly. Excuse the bird metaphor that's being overused, but you know what I mean? Like, we don't want them to always be dependent on us for everything. We want them to know how to navigate friends when we're not around. So, they play a huge role for the girls, and we want to help them recognize these healthy patterns, stand up for themselves when it's necessary, and be assertive and not be afraid to be that they'll be abandoned. Because positive friendships can boost self esteem, whereas toxic friendships can damage it. Draining friendships can damage their self esteem. So we don't want that. What we want is for our daughters, as much as possible. Are they going to have bad days? Yes, of course. We all do. But as much as possible, we want them to come home with a big smile on their face, excited to talk about her friends and how they supported her, how they had fun that day, sharing how they helped each other get through a tough time, or how they cheered her on during a game or a school project. This kind of support is what we want for our daughters. And even for ourselves as women, we want to be around people who are going to cheer us on, not talk behind our backs, not, put us down or make us feel bad about a certain thing. We want to be around people who uplift us, who support us. We can talk about hard things and know that we're going to be there for each other. Your girls want that in their life too. So, we want to show them what it's like to have friends that lift each other up. So, you have to think about right now, like, just think about your daughter's friends right now. Do you think she hangs around with mostly people that are good for her, uplifting? They're not competitive. Now, they can be competitive in certain things, but they're not competing against each other. They help her feel good. She helps them feel good. Like, it's a give and take. Or is she in a friendship where it's the opposite? She's sad a lot. They're arguing. She's complaining about that they're doing certain things that don't seem nice. Maybe she is friends with somebody who's nice to her, but that other friend is mean to another friend and she doesn't like it and she doesn't know what to do. Is that draining her? Like, so just thinking about like your own knowledge of her friends. And there are times when you're like, I'm not really sure how that's going. And that's a good indication that you want to check in with her. That's why the nightly check ins, the daily check ins, the car ride check ins are so important. And it's not always about asking in the same way. And maybe it's about getting in the habit of just saying, like, what's something you've been doing with your friends that you've enjoyed lately? And that can open up a conversation. If there's not much, then she might say, well, there hasn't been much because there's actually been a lot of fighting lately. And then you can be like, well, tell me more. And then listen. That is the hardest part, is not jumping in and be like, what's happening? Is there any way I can help? And like panicking and almost wanting to solve everything for them. Just being like, pause and say, really, tell me more. That is a very powerful phrase to say to your daughter. So, toxic friendships, how do those look? Well, toxic friendships, like I mentioned, they might have negative feelings when they're around them because there's gossiping, there's exclusion, there's jealousy, there's pressure to do things they're not comfortable with. It's recognizing what are those things. And it could be having a conversation with your daughter about that. Like, what would make you feel better in your friendships? If she's like, well, there's a lot of fighting. Sometimes there's a girl in a group who's like, well, if you play with her, we're not friends anymore. and that's like a younger child thing to do. But it also can kind of transfer into the older girls where it's like, well, if you hang out with her, we're not friends because I don't like her and I can't believe you'd hang out with her knowing that she's mean to me. And maybe it's a perception thing that your daughter's friend thinks that the girl's mean to her, or maybe she is mean to her. And then your daughter's like stuck in this trifecta of like, what do I do? Like, I feel like I'm in the middle and this feels very unhealthy. It doesn't feel good. But I also like both people in different ways. Like, they're nice to me, but they're not nice to each other. So it's thinking about like, what is a toxic friendship? Um, and is it something that can be solved? Is it something that they can communicate with their friends about to improve? Are there things that you can support her in doing to get out of that friendship and to be around more healthy environments and communities? Which is why we created Girls Positivity Club, because I wanted to create clubs for girls where they feel like they belong. They have a space where they belong. It is a safe place where they can build new friendships, meet new girls in a positive way. So, just a little shameless plug there. That is the reason that we started Girls Positivity Club. If you did not know that, because it's a big core value of ours to teach girls how to have positive friendships together. So, what can I do, Melissa? You might be asking yourself. So, I think it's having these conversations about defining healthy friendships early. So, you might be thinking, well, isn't that something you do when you're older? Not necessarily. There are different ways you can do it with younger girls. And in Girls Positivity Club, the girls are as young as 6 years old. And there's ways to talk about this to younger kids all the way up to high school. And it really has the same through line. And that is, what is a healthy friendship for me? What is a good friendship for me? What is a good friend? Those are all universal terms, no matter their age. So, and they really don't change that much, because what girls will tell me and tell you is that they want a kind friend. They want someone who respects them. They want someone who they can trust and who will support them, whether things are going good or things are not going good. They want someone who's going to be there by their side to love them as a friend no matter what. So it's helping her recognize when there are those red flags, when the friendship is not serving her well. So, for example, if your daughter in elementary school, like grades 1 through 3, has a friend who insists on always picking the game or activity, teach her that a healthy friendship is sharing and taking turns. So this is something that we have, done with our kids since they were little, taking turns. One friend shouldn't always be dictating what you do, where you go, what you say, what you wear, all of those things. So discussing with her how both friends should be contributing to the friendship and the decisions in the friendship. Same thing with your daughter. If she is making all the decisions in the friendship, having her think about her own role. Like, are you ever asking your friends what they would like to do? And if they say something like, yeah, they just always tell me to choose, then maybe it's thinking like, how can you encourage your friend to help make decisions too, so that it's not always a one-sided friendship. Then in and it's saying like, do you and your friends take turns picking the game, or does one person always decide? So it's asking a question like that that's going to be really insightful and helping you know what's going on in the friendships. And then at the middle school age, it is more like your daughter might experience jealousy, exclusion among her friends. So it's teaching your daughter how to recognize when a friend is left out and encouraging her to be inclusive. What if you're the person who invites someone that you notice doesn't have a place to sit, joins your group? What if you're the person who asks someone who doesn't have a partner to be your partner? What if you're the model for those things? And there is a fear of like, well, everyone will make fun of me if I'm friends with that person. Again, it comes back to, if they're going to make fun of you for including someone else, is that the person that you want to be friends with? And if the answer is no, then they weren't a good friend to begin with. That is a hard thing to say, but sometimes you have to bring that to their attention and just say, like, you have to make a decision. Do you want to just go along with what everybody else is doing? Or do you want to be the type of person who includes others? So if there's exclusion in that friend group, is that what you want in your life? That you're only friends with certain people? Or Are you the type of person who notices another kind person who doesn't have a place to be and you invite them? So it's having that kind of conversation and helping her understand the importance of supporting friends rather than engaging in exclusion and having to go along with other people's rules in friendship that are not in line with your daughter's core values as a friend and what she wants in a friendship. In high school, it could be that your daughter is in a friendship when there is one person that is constantly negative and maybe puts herself down or puts others down, or might even jokingly, sometimes they do it as a joke, like make fun of something about your daughter or put her down in a way or tease her about something. And your daughter, it makes her sad, but she doesn't know how to bring it up and say that it's bothering her. Helping her understand that true friends build you up, and everyone in the friend group, not just one person. And also that when one person goes away, like goes to a class or something, they're not talked about in a negative way when they're not around. So it's helping her recognize that true friends build each other up and encourage each other. And yes, you can joke, but not in a mean way. And so helping her understand that, and that if it's not doing that, if the friendship is not serving her in that way and it's draining her, then it's a time to look at that friendship and think about if she still wants it in her life, even though that might be a really hard decision for her to make. Will she feel better when she is not around that person who is causing her to feel drained and stressed and like she has to be a certain way? So you want to ask her as a conversation starter, do you feel uplifted by your friends, or do you feel drained after spending time with them? The second thing is asking open ended questions about her friendships. So, encouraging her to reflect on how she feels after spending time with her friends. Instead of asking if she's happy, ask how she feels about the friendship. So, in elementary school, this would be like after play dates or group activities, ask how she felt about what they did. Did she feel happy? Did she feel included? Did she feel left out ever? And using simple phrases like, did everyone get a chance to pick a game? Or how did you decide how to pick the game? Things like that. And sometimes girls will exclude themselves if they're shy. So that's a very different situation of like them hanging back and being shy and not knowing how to assert herself and being left out. Like those are two different things. And so that's another thing to bring up if your daughter said she was left out, is not that you don't believe her, but understanding the perspective and thinking like, was she left out, or was she feeling shy and wasn't sure how to start playing the game or get involved. And so therefore she excluded herself. And that is a very different situation. And then you can help her navigate that and teach her like, how do you join things? What do you do? What do you say? So then it's like, you can check in with her about different friends. Like, how did you feel after hanging out with fill in the blank, whatever her name is, Emily, whoever? How did you feel when you hung out with Anastasia, whatever? Did you feel good? Did you feel tired? Did you feel happy? Did you feel creative? How did you feel? And then in middle school, they might be experiencing more deeper emotional connections with friends, and it might get more complex. So asking how she feels after spending time with her friends. Does she feel supported by her friends, or is she unsure? Helping her recognize patterns in her feelings after hanging out with different friends. Like, how do you feel when you hang out with your sports friends? How do you feel when you hang out with your theater friends? How do you feel when you hang out with your friends in this certain class, or your church friends, or whatever it is? So it's okay to have different friendship groups, of course. And I think that's very normal for them to have, groups of friends that do different things. But then it's just checking in with her about, how do you feel when you're around them? Do you feel excited? Do you feel energized? Do you feel, low? So it's just coming up with a scale even, or it doesn't have to be a scale, but you can just say like, how do you feel when you're around them? They might just say good, and that's good enough. And then you can say, well, what helps and what makes you feel good around them? Like, what do you do that makes, together that makes you feel good? And then she can tell you. So high school, then it would be more like, how does it affect her mental health? So it's like, how do you feel? Like, when you're around them and you don't agree with what they say, how do you feel when you share your opinion? Do they make you feel like you can be yourself? Do they make you feel like no matter who you are friends with outside of your group, that's accepted and that they're not jealous about it or make you feel weird about it? Whatever that is. So it could be even about who they're dating, how do your friends make you feel about that? Things like that. So it's, what do you think about when you're with your friends? How do they make you feel supported? Again, it's, are they making you feel drained? Are they making you feel energized? Things like that. And then, are they positive? Like, are they adding to your mental health in a good way? And having a conversation about, what is mental health? Is it, feeling confident when you're around them? Is it knowing that when you're not around them, that they're saying good things about you and they're not judging, and whatever that is? Is it that they will speak up and say something to you even if it feels uncomfortable, and they're like, hey, I kind of feel like this, and you're able to have honest conversations but in a respectful way? So it's checking in with all those different types of things to see how she's feeling with her friendships. And then the last one is you modeling healthy friendships for her. So it's showing your daughter what a healthy friendship looks like by nurturing your own relationships. Do you have female friends in your life? And are they around that? Now, it doesn't mean you have to be with your friends all the time, but is she seeing you have a positive friendship? Or even if it's with your sister or with a cousin, is she seeing positive interaction with you as if you're the mom? With your friends? Or if you're a girl dad listening, are you hanging out with guys and it's a positive friendship, and you're setting that good example? So it's maybe even talking with them about, like, when my friend needs me, here's how I support them. So even in elementary school, it could be, here's how I show empathy to my friends. So if a friend needs my help, here's how I handle it. And of course, it's age appropriate, but you can say, like, I really know that when my friend got hurt, I helped in this way. Or when my friend was going through, maybe someone passed away in their family, I did this. Or maybe if my friend was disappointed about something, I did this. So it's having that conversation and also modeling, not that they have to see everything in your friendship, but it's modeling some of those things so that they see it. And it's talking with them about your own friendships and how they make you feel too. And then in middle school, it's like learning how to handle friendships with more emotional complexity. So it's showing her how to address conflicts when they come up in a respectful way, and how to be a good listener, like how active listening looks, and how, even though they might be thinking about their own things, how being a good friend is also actively listening to your friends and how that sounds. So it's leading by example. When you have a disagreement with a friend, it doesn't mean that you have this big blow up with a friend, but it's like you explain to them when you have had a disagreement with one of your friends and how you handled it in a positive way. And then in high school, it might be, again, like trends, keeping up with trends or keeping up with social media and like having so many likes and followers and all this stuff. And I wish that wasn't true, but it is a whole thing. And it's modeling, how do you have in real life, IRL, friends and relationships, and what that looks like, and how it's important to set boundaries with friends too in a healthy way. And, really it's about prioritizing the quality of your friendships, not how many friends you have. So it's, and relating it to social media, they might think, oh, I have this many likes, that means I'm so well liked by friends, even though these may not even be people they know. But in real life, it's good just to have a small group of friends. Yes, if they like to have a lot of friends, that's great. But are those quality friends? And if she likes a big friend group and there are a lot of quality friends, then great. But it's taking inventory and helping her think about, are my friends good quality friends? And then it's you saying to her, like, what do you think makes a friendship real? Are there any friendships that you feel in your life are a little bit fake? Is it about spending time with each other, and how does that look for you and her and your busy schedules with your different activities? And so it's really thinking about, how do I have real friendships and real people that I can talk to about anything and who will support me. I'll do the same for them. They can trust me. I can trust them. And it's about identifying that and helping them find those people in those common interests or different classes they take, and having the conversations of like, how do you do that? And that's how I support as well, is I talk with girls about like, how could you get around more people like this? And it's really them identifying what is important to me in their friendship. So what this is going to do for your daughters is going to help them feel more empowered. It's going to help improve communication with them. It's going to help you have a better, stronger relationship with them and bond with them, and them knowing that they can come to you and talk to you about friends. And, we're really just guiding her through it and being there to support her along the way as a guide, and giving her all the tools that she can have with you, supporting her. And I'm here for you too. And, because healthy friendships are really essential for your daughter's well-being, but they also require that guidance and support. And so, really talk to your daughter about these things and don't be afraid of it. And if you go to talk to her and it doesn't go well the first time, just try again and try in a different way. So, if you try once and she kind of shuts you down, it might not be the right time. There might be something going on. Maybe try again at a different time, or try it in a new approach, in a new way. And as always, if you need support in this, I'm happy to help you. If you want one-on-one support with your daughter, again, just reach out to me at girlspositivityclub.com or anywhere on social media. And until next time, keep supporting those confident girls and growing those really good quality female friendships. I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining another empowering episode of the Raising Confident Girls podcast. Share today's insights with caregivers and friends, building beautiful relationships with strong girls. Hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're not just a podcast, we're a community. Follow Girls Positivity Club on social media for more empowering content on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. This podcast empowers you, supporting incredible girls. Let's create strong, beautiful relationships with the girls in our lives. I appreciate you listening today. Stay confident, stay connected. Until next time, keep raising those confident girls. You've got this.